Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here, and we are looking at the next to last episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Hey, lay off my mic cord. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, episode 9, and it's a really interesting one. It's sort of a cross between that episode of the original show, Arena, where Kirk and a Gorn had a mano Gorno fight, but it's also reminiscent of Enemy Mine, the Dennis Quaid, Louis Gossett Jr. film about an human and an alien who are or having to work together to survive on a planet they both crashed on. Or, if you want to go farther back, the Galactica 80 episode, where we all learned what happened to Starbuck, who crash landed on an island, on a planet, and had to work with a Cylon for both to survive. Anyways, we open with the Enterprise in uncharted space. You know that whole boldly go where no man has gone before? Well, they're working on it this time. And Ortega is going on a solo mission to collect samples and readings from a gravity well. Now, it's very dangerous. They've had to strip out everything from the shuttle. All that's there is one seat for Ortega and the stuff for taking the samples and whatnot. Spock wants to go, but he's disappointed. Weight is a very important factor in this. They can't have two people. And we get a funny bit where Ortega makes a joke about where every ounce counts, and you've just got one, and you've just got too many. Which Spock doesn't get what she's saying and says, but I've kept myself at the proper weight. For, typical Vulcan response. Anyway, she goes out and she gets all the information. It's transmitted over to the Enterprise, and as she's about to drop the subspace buoy for this area so they can, check back on it as things go, bam! A wormhole with no warning. Usually they can get a warning before a wormhole pops open and sucks Ortega through. Well, that's a problem. At first they think because of the gravity well and the wormhole, that combination may have destroyed the shuttle. She may be dead. Uhura doesn't believe that. She knows Ortega. If anyone could have made it through in that shuttle, Ortega could have. Shuttles aren't built to stand that kind of amount of forces put on them. Well, a couple problems here. One, after they get the readings, they were supposed to go and deliver a vaccine to some colonists. Very important. Pike, he doesn't want to leave a man behind. So he's not ready to write it off. So Uhura is trying to come up with a way to get a message to Ortega. So they're going to try and send some probes through to bolster their signal. Now, meanwhile, Ortega wakes up, crash landed on a planet. Before she crash lands, she releases the subspace buoy and a mayday call. Hopefully, they will be able to pick it up. And then she crash lands, finds that the survivor rations for when you get crash landed have all been destroyed in the crash. Using her ingenuity, and also the power's going out in her ship, but using her ingenuity, she cobbles together a water condenser. Basically, it's like a dehumidifier. It pulls water moisture out of the air and drains it into a cup. So she's able to get water. And she has to head out to get food. And she learns she has a finite amount of time to do this in, because in looking at the orbit of the moon, she's orbiting a gas giant, and during part of the orbit will swing into the atmosphere of the gas giant, so she's got to get back before that happens. And she spots a light coming from somewhere. A couple of lights. So she heads for it and she finds a cave. Now, Uhura does get Ortega's Mayday, but it's very garbled. So they send in the probes to pop the signal, and the probes are immediately crushed. Perhaps they can send a shuttle. So they try to configure a trajectory where the shuttle will not get destroyed. While they're doing that, Ortega enters the cave and discovers that there's a Gorn with an injured leg there. So she hides. But Gorn finds her. Doesn't kill her. Gives her food. So, another problem on the Enterprise. When they sent in the probes, it caused the stability of the wormhole to lessen, and it's starting to shrink. So they're running out of time. And they find that they cannot get a trajectory for a shuttle to go through. Now what do you do? Well, meanwhile, Ortega discovers Gorn has a communication relay from his ship. So she grabs it and tries to escape, and he catches her and then puts up this field, because they're hitting the area of the orbit where the gas is going to hit them, and basically it's a big storm. Saves her again. Then she cobbles together a sort of universal translator, only it goes yes and no, where she finds out the Gorn has mental telepathy, or just telepathy. She can read all of Ortega's thoughts. And Ortega binds Gorn's injured leg and finds out the Gorn is a female. Just two lady pilots hanging out on a planet. And so, to pass the time while they try to think of something and wait to see if the Enterprise can pick up her signal, she teaches the Gorn chess. And then the Gorn teaches her one of their games, which Ortega wins. And finds out the final piece you have to eat, but it's like a bone of rock, so Ortega palms it when she goes to eat it. That'll come back later. It's not a bad thing, you know. Anyways, meanwhile, Uhura has found a way into the wormhole. The Enterprise itself must do it. Not all the way. Not shoot through it, but just kind of hold it open. Then they can scan the planets to see if Ortega's on any of them. Well, Pike agrees, but they're on a time limit, so eventually, if they don't find her, they're going to have to leave. 4,000 colonists against one pilot. That old needs of the many thing. So they get in, they're kind of stationary, kind of holding it open basically, and scanning. While this happens, Ortega goes out to get some more of these crystals that the Gorn had been using for their leg. And during some of their conversation, she's found out that in Gorn society, when you're injured like she is, they'll just put you away permanently. Boom. No room for weakness in the Gorn army. Well, Ortega's like, nah, we're not going to do that. You're going to come with me. Nobody's going to kill you. I guarantee it. I'll watch for you. We're friends. So she goes out to get her friend some medicine and finds that this planet has a lot of apex predators on it. And she's running back to the shelter, but it's catching up to her, so she fires off a flare. And it hits the thing and blows it, but the backlash knocks out the communication relay, which was also powering the force field, which was protecting him from the storms and the predators. Looks like they're toast. But Ortega, always thinking, realizes they can send a signal, last-ditch effort, by igniting the gas during the apex of the next storm. Might kill them, because they're basically igniting most of the top atmosphere on the planet, or the moon. They're the moon of a gas giant, I don't know why I keep saying. Anyways, but she also finds that the Gorn has all the heat deflectors from her ship. This just might work. Well, they get everything set up, and wouldn't you know it, they can't set off the last flare remotely. It's not working, so Ortega runs out, trips it, runs back in, slams the last shield over top of them, and oh my god, the whole planet goes on fire. It is magnificent, spectacular, awesome, and scary. And just as the Enterprise is about to give up and pull out, Spock spots that flaming planet, moon. Uhura's like, that's Ortega. Only she would explode a planet to get a signal through. Gotta agree with her on that one. So, and takes a away team to rescue them after fire dies down. And as they're approaching the shelter, lid pops off. Ortega rolls out, followed by her friend, and reacting quickly because there's a Gorn towering over Ortega, shoots the Gorn. And Ortega's like, no, no, and she's crying, and don't you die on me, all that stuff. And they think Ortega's gone crazy, and so they're going to beam everybody back up when time stops. Now, there's been this second light, and Ortega and the Gorn had both felt someone or something has been watching them. Well, what's been watching them takes human form and talks to Ortega. Seems they were curious about something, so they set things up. They're all powerful, that see what would happen if you put one human and one Gorn, who are sworn enemies out to kill each other, together to see if, in a situation where they cannot survive on their own, and see if they can work together, which Ortega's proved they can. But La'an's shooting the Gorn automatically shows that they are not ready for these entities to reveal themselves to them. But there's always hope. And so, although Ortega will not remember this conversation, she will remember her experiences on the planet with her friend. So, there is hope. So when she gets back, she's talking to Uhura. She's working through a lot of stuff. This Gorn was her friend. Leanne's her friend, but Leanne, not knowing, shot him, so she's kind of processing that. And then we see she kept the piece that she didn't swallow. And keep up her memory, and there will be a record of a Gorn and human interacting as fellow friends, people, whatever you want to call it. Oh, darn, the sun came out. Thought it was going to be an overcast day. Anyways, really good episode, very tense, very dramatic. But as my wife pointed out, they're going back to that blue screen stuff again where everything's dark and dreary. Admittedly, because it's more of a bright, hopeful kind of Star Trek. But yeah, I think it was necessary for this episode. And high point of the season, I think. And it finally gives Ortega some closure on the beginning of the season where she got skewered and almost died. Oh, and got part of her hand digested. Anyway, so yeah, they brought that about, so there's some full circle closure for her, which I like. I didn't want that to get drawn out over several seasons of her still doing PTSD and stuff. And she's really coming to terms with it now, and I think the aliens helped, and that she was the perfect choice for their experiment. Please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.